Before there was life, there was war. Before there was peace, there was tension. And before there was meaning, there was fire. Heraclitus, the dark philosopher of Ephesus, walked alone through the temples of his city, watching the people pray for peace. But he did not join them. He saw peace as a dream for the weak, and conflict as the true nature of existence. He wrote, "War is the father of all things." And in that single line, he revealed the law that governs both gods and men. Everything you see, the rise of empires, the birth of stars, the beating of your heart, exists because something struggled to exist. Heraclitus believed that life was not a story of harmony, but of balance maintained through battle, that to live is to fight, not against the world, but through it. This was not cruelty, this was creation. For Heraclitus, conflict was not the end of order, it was the source of it. It was the law that builds and destroys with the same hand, the law of creation. Heraclitus looked at the world and saw fire, motion, and change. Where others saw chaos, he saw pattern. He saw a world held together by struggle. Night does not oppose day, it gives it meaning. Life does not contradict death, it defines it. He believed that everything that exists only does so because it has an opposite that challenges it. A universe without opposition would collapse into stillness. And stillness, to Heraclitus, was death. He called this the unity of opposites, the idea that conflict is not disorder, but equilibrium in disguise. Like a river flowing against its own current, life sustains itself through constant resistance. We crave comfort, we praise stability, but the universe itself does not rest. It burns, it collides, it transforms. The cosmos, Heraclitus said, is a living fire, a fire that consumes, renews, and never stops changing its form. What most people call chaos is simply creation before it finds shape. Heraclitus rejected the illusion of permanence. He declared, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, because by the time he returns, both he and the river have changed." To him, all things are in motion, not sometimes, but always. Change was not an event, it was the essence of reality. What exists is only a moment in a chain of transformations. He called this process becoming. Being is temporary, becoming is eternal. This is why he saw conflict as sacred, because only through friction does becoming occur. A bow that is never drawn breaks. A muscle that is never strained weakens. A mind that is never challenged decays. The tension between opposites, between effort and rest, creation and collapse, is what gives the world its rhythm. Remove that tension, and everything dissolves into nothingness. Conflict, therefore, is not the interruption of peace. It is the pulse of existence itself. Fire was the symbol of his entire philosophy, because fire is not still. It consumes to live, and lives to consume. Heraclitus saw this as the ultimate law of reality, transformation through destruction. He believed that everything, from the stars above to the emotions inside you, was part of this endless burning. Fire does not apologize for what it destroys. It does not ask permission to change form. It simply is. To Heraclitus, that was truth itself. Truth is not gentle. It burns, it exposes, it refines. And those who wish to live truthfully must be willing to burn, to let their false beliefs, their illusions, their comfortable identities be consumed so something greater can emerge. The weak hide from this fire. The strong step into it willingly, for they know that what is real cannot be destroyed, only revealed. Heraclitus saw man not as a peaceful creature, but as a battlefield, desire against discipline, fear against reason, instinct against will. He believed this internal war was not something to suppress, but something to master. Modern minds crave calm, but Heraclitus would say, calm without tension is death. Life without struggle breeds ignorance. A soul without conflict grows dull, like a blade left unused. He wrote that character is destiny, because your character, your strength, your discipline, your restraint, is forged in the wars you fight within yourself. Power, therefore, begins not with conquering others, but with mastering the civil war of the soul. To lose that war is to live as a slave to impulse. To win it is to become your own creator. The world will always burn, but it is the fire within you that determines whether you rise or melt. Heraclitus used an image that still echoes through philosophy: the bow and the lyre. Both depend on tension. If the string is too loose, they fail to function. If it is too tight, they snap. Their power lies in balance, not in rest. The right amount of strain creates harmony, music, accuracy, purpose. He saw life the same way. The mind, the body, the soul, all require resistance to awaken their potential. Too much ease and they decay. Too much strain and they shatter. But the balance of both creates mastery. That is why he wrote, "Hidden harmony is better than visible harmony." Because true order is not found in what looks peaceful. It is found in forces that oppose one another perfectly. The warrior's calm is not absence of fear. It is balance between courage and danger. The philosopher's peace is not escape from confusion. It is clarity forged through contradiction. And the creator's power lies not in comfort, but in friction. Harmony, Heraclitus knew, is not soft. It is forged by fire, tension, and conflict refined into form. The modern world has forgotten this. We worship comfort, idolize ease, and confuse peace with progress. We seek to silence every storm instead of learning how to sail through it. Heraclitus would call that blindness. The blindness of those who believe creation can exist without destruction. He would say, there is no peace without opposition, no strength without struggle, no growth without friction. A world without conflict would be a world without form. A mind without conflict would be a mind without thought. Every empire, every invention, every revolution was born from resistance. Power is not found in avoidance, but in transformation. Heraclitus would have us understand, conflict is not your enemy, it is your initiation. It breaks what is false and reveals what is real. It tests your claim to strength and demands that you prove it. To suffer is not to fail. To struggle is not to lose. To struggle is to become. Heraclitus spoke of a cosmic fire, a purification that consumes the universe only to rebuild it anew. He saw in that eternal cycle the mirror of every human life. We destroy, rebuild, and destroy again, not because we are lost, but because creation demands it. The old self must burn for the new one to emerge. The man who clings to comfort lives half alive. The one who faces his destruction becomes immortal in spirit. You cannot be forged in still water. You must walk through flame. Heraclitus would say, every pain is a teacher. Every loss is a rebirth. The fire does not care who you were, only who you will become after it's done with you. And when it finishes its work, you are not what survived the fire. You are what the fire created. When Heraclitus said, war is the father of all things, he wasn't glorifying violence. He was describing the fundamental rhythm of existence. Creation is conflict, not as an exception, but as its essence. The sculptor must strike the marble to reveal the form within. The seed must split open to become the tree. The mind must doubt itself to reach truth. Every act of becoming carries destruction in its shadow. To create anything, a thought, a life, a soul, something must first die. That is not tragedy. That is law, the law of creation. Heraclitus died alone, misunderstood. Yet his fragments survived 2,000 years because the truth cannot die. It only changes form. It burns through every age, every empire, every human life, whispering the same message. Do not seek peace where there must be war. Do not run from the flame that made you. Do not curse the struggle that shaped you. For everything you are was born of resistance, and everything you will become depends on how you face it. The fire that surrounds you is not your enemy. It is your creation, your mirror, your law. And when you finally understand that, you will no longer fear the world's war. You will become it. Because as Heraclitus taught, war is the father of all things, and those who master conflict become its gods.